Before we start, drop your thoughts in the comments after watching. It really helps the channel. I knew my wife was cheating. I just didn't expect to find out because of something so stupid and so small. A receipt? Yeah. Not a message. Not lipstick. Not some obvious mistake. A grocery receipt. We had been married for 9 years. No kids. No chaos. Just a quiet, stable life. We weren't that couple that posted everything online. We weren't dramatic. We were normal. Or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. That night, she came home a little later than usual. Nothing crazy. Maybe 40 minutes. She walked in like always. Smiled. Kissed me. Asked how my day was. Same tone. Same voice. Same everything. If there was something wrong, she hit it perfectly. She said she stopped by the store on the way home. I didn't question it. Why would I? That's what people do. They go to work. They go to the store. They come home. Normal life. But later that night, something caught my attention. She went to take a shower. And I walked into the kitchen to grab some water. That's when I saw it. A receipt on the counter. Crumpled slightly. Like it had been taken out of a bag and forgotten. I didn't pick it up because I was suspicious. I picked it up because it was just there. Something about it pulled my attention. I glanced at it. Just a quick look. 2 bottles of wine. Chocolate. Nothing unusual. But then I saw the last item. Condoms. I just stood there. For a second, my brain didn't even process it. Like it refused to understand what I was looking at. We hadn't used condoms in years. Not once. Not even close. So why were they on that receipt? I remember actually laughing under my breath. Not because it was funny, but because it didn't make sense. And when something doesn't make sense, your brain tries to fix it. Maybe she bought them for a friend. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe she grabbed the wrong thing. I went through every possible explanation. Except the obvious one. Because the obvious one would destroy everything. So I put the receipt back. Exactly where it was. And when she came out of the shower, I acted normal. That was the hardest part. Pretending. Sitting there next to her on the couch. Watching TV. Listening to her talk about her day. While that one word kept echoing in my head. Condoms. Over and over again. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that receipt. That one line. And the more I thought about it, the less it felt like a mistake. The next few weeks were worse. Because once you see something like that, you start noticing everything. She was on her phone more. A lot more. Not just scrolling. Typing. Smiling. Then locking the screen the second I walked in. At first, it was subtle. Then it became obvious. She started taking her phone everywhere. Bathroom. Kitchen. Even when she just got up for a second. She never used to do that. Not once in 9 years. Then came the late nights. Work stuff. Extra hours. Team dinner. Every excuse sounded reasonable. That's the problem. Nothing was crazy enough to confront. But everything felt off. Like I was slowly becoming a stranger in my own marriage. Like there was a version of her life that I wasn't part of anymore. And the worst part? She was good at it. Too good. No panic. No weird behavior. No obvious lies. Just small changes. Carefully controlled. Almost like she had done this before. Then one night, she made a mistake. A small one. But it changed everything. She left her phone on the couch. Unlocked. And it buzzed. I remember staring at it. Telling myself not to touch it. That if I crossed that line, there was no going back. But then it buzzed again. And the screen lit up. Just enough for me to see the message. A number. Not saved. No name. Just words. Rooms booked. Same place. Don't be late this time. I felt my chest tighten. My hands went cold. Everything inside me just dropped. I picked up the phone. And for the first time in 9 years, I went through it. And what I found wasn't just cheating. It was something so much worse that I still wish I never saw it. I should have stopped. I should have just put the phone down and pretended I never saw anything. But I didn't. Because once you open that door, you don't get to close it again. My hands were shaking, but I kept scrolling. At first, it was just messages. Nothing too explicit. Just enough to understand what was happening. Flirting. Inside jokes. Plans. But then, it got worse. Way worse. Photos. Videos. Things she had never sent me. Things she never even suggested to me. And the way she talked to him, it wasn't just physical. It was personal. She laughed with him. Opened up to him. Said things like, "I feel more like myself with you." I had to stop for a second. Because that one line hit harder than everything else. Not the pictures. Not the cheating. That. Because it meant something deeper. It meant I wasn't just being replaced physically. I was being erased. But that wasn't even the worst part. There wasn't just one conversation. There were multiple. Different numbers. Different threads. Different men. Each one slightly different. But the pattern was the same. Same energy. Same tone. Same lies. I felt sick. Like I didn't even know who I had been living with for the past 9 years. And then I saw it. A group chat. 3 people. Her. And 2 guys. That same message from earlier. Rooms booked. I opened it. Scrolled. And my stomach dropped. They weren't hiding it. They were planning it. Talking about times. Details. Laughing about how easy it was. One of them even joked about me. Called me predictable. Said I'd never suspect a thing. And she replied, "You have no idea." That was the moment something inside me changed. Not broke. Not shattered. Changed. The panic was gone. The confusion too. Everything became very quiet. Very clear. I locked her phone. Put it back exactly where it was. And sat down. When she came back into the room, I looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw someone else. A stranger. But I smiled. I asked her how the call went. I listened. I nodded. I even laughed at one of her stories. And she had no idea. Not even a hint. That I knew everything. That's when I realized something. She thought she was in control. She thought she was playing me. But she made one mistake. She let me see the truth before she was ready. And now? Now the game was mine. I didn't confront her. I didn't argue. I didn't ask questions. Because that's what she expected. Instead, I started paying attention. To everything. Her schedule. Her habits. The names. The places. The patterns. If she was going to lie to me, I was going to learn from it. Use it. And then, I was going to end this. On my terms. But before I could do that, I needed to see it with my own eyes. Not messages. Not words. Reality. And a few nights later, I got my chance. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And at some point, messages stop being enough. You need proof. Not for anyone else. For yourself. So a few nights later, when she told me she had another late work thing, I didn't question it. I just nodded. Told her to drive safe. Kissed her goodbye like I always did. And then I waited. 10 minutes. just enough so it didn't feel obvious. Then I grabbed my keys and followed her. I stayed far enough back so she wouldn't notice. Every turn she made, I made. Every stoplight. Every lane change. My heart was steady. Too steady, like I had already accepted what I was about to see. She didn't go to her office. Not even close. She drove across town. To a part of the city we never had any reason to be in. And then I saw it. A hotel. Not a big one. Not fancy. Just discreet. The kind of place people don't ask questions. She pulled into the parking lot. Parked. Sat there for a few seconds. Probably texting. Then she got out. And walked inside like she had done it before. No hesitation. No fear. That hurt more than anything. I parked across the street. Engine off. Lights off. Just watching. A few minutes passed. Then another car pulled in. Black sedan. Tinted windows. A man stepped out. Confident. Relaxed. Like he knew exactly why he was there. He didn't even look around. Just walked straight inside. I felt my jaw tighten. But I didn't move. Not yet. 5 minutes later, another car. Different guy. Same energy. Same. That's when it hit me. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. Routine. Something they had done before. More than once. I sat there, staring at the entrance. Every second felt heavier. Like the air itself was pressing down on me. Part of me wanted to storm in. Kick the door open. End it right there. But I didn't. Because anger is loud. And loud people lose control. I needed control. So I waited. Watched the windows. Counted the minutes. Memorized everything. And after about 20 minutes, I got out of the car. Each step toward that hotel felt unreal. Like I was walking into someone else's life. Not mine. The lobby was quiet. Dim lights. A bored receptionist behind the desk. She barely looked up. I kept my voice calm. Steady. I gave her my wife's name. For a second, I thought she might refuse. Ask questions, but she didn't. She just typed something. Glanced at the screen. Then slid a keycard across the counter. Room 314. Same room from the messages. Of course it was. I took the card. Walked toward the hallway. Every step slower than the last. Until I reached the door. 314. I stood there for a moment. Just listening. And then I heard it. Laughter. Multiple voices. Her voice. Comfortable. Carefree. Like nothing in the world was wrong. Like I didn't exist. My hand tightened around the keycard. This was it. The moment where everything ends. Or changes. I lifted my hand, ready to open the door, but then I stopped. Because suddenly, I realized something. If I walk in now, I lose. Not her. Not the marriage. That was already gone. Control. And right now, control was the only thing I had left. So instead of opening the door, I stepped back. And made a different decision. One that would hurt more. Take longer. But make sure they would never forget me. I quietly turned around. Walked back down the hallway. And left. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't say a word. But in my head, the plan was already forming. And what I was about to do next was going to be so much worse than getting caught. Revenge doesn't always look like anger. Sometimes, it looks like patience. After that night at the hotel, everything became simple. Not easy, but simple. I stopped reacting. Stopped questioning. Stopped caring, at least on the surface. To her, I was the same husband. Same routine. Same. If anything, I was better. More attentive. More calm. More predictable. Exactly what they thought I was. But behind that, I was preparing. Quietly. Carefully. I started documenting everything. Dates. Times. Messages. Screenshots. I even went back to that hotel. More than once. Not to catch her, to confirm patterns. Room numbers. Schedules. Faces. I learned everything. Who they were. When they met. How often. Turns out, it wasn't just a phase. It wasn't a mistake. It was a system. Something she built. And thought I'd never see. Meanwhile, I met with a lawyer. Didn't tell anyone. Didn't rush it. Just laid everything out. Every piece. Every detail. And when he looked at me and said, "You're going to walk out of this clean," that's when I knew it was working. I moved money. Quietly. Legally. Prepared everything for the divorce. So when the time came, there would be nothing for her to fight over. No leverage. No control. Just consequences. And then I waited. For the right moment. Not emotional. Not impulsive. Perfect. It came 3 weeks later. She told me she had another. Work dinner. Same tone. Same lie. I smiled. Told her not to stay out too late. She kissed me goodbye, like she always did. And left. But this time, I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. Instead, I made a few calls. Then I got dressed. Took my time. And drove to the hotel. Room 314. I stood in that same hallway again. But this time, I wasn't hesitating. I knocked. There was movement inside. Laughter. Then silence. And the door opened. One of the guys. Confused. Annoyed. Until he saw me. Then everything shifted. I didn't say anything. I just stepped forward and pushed the door open wider. And there she was. Exactly where I knew she'd be. Same room. Same people. Same lies. But this time, there were more faces. Not just them. Other people. Watching. Phones out. Recording. Her expression changed instantly. From confidence to panic. "Wait, what is this?" That's the first thing she said. Not sorry. Not my name. Just confusion. I looked at her. Calm. Steady. And for the first time, I let her see it. That I knew. That I had always known. "For 9 years," I said quietly. "I thought I was building a life with you." The room was silent. No one laughed anymore. No one moved. "But you were building something else." She tried to talk. Tried to come closer. I stepped back. Just slightly. Enough. And then I added, "So I made sure you could keep it." That's when it hit her. Not emotionally. Practically. Because right behind me was my lawyer. And everything was already filed. Papers ready. Evidence documented. Assets separated. There was nothing left for her to argue. Nothing left to manipulate. No version of the story where she wins. Just reality. Raw and final. I placed the envelope on the table. Right in front of her. She didn't touch it. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Because for the first time, she wasn't in control. I turned around. Started walking out. And just before I left, I stopped. Not to look at her. But to say one last thing. "You said I'd never suspect a thing." I paused. Then added, "You were right." And walked away. 3 months later, it was over. Clean. Quiet. Final. She tried to reach out. Said it didn't mean anything. Said it was a mistake. Said she wanted to fix things. But by then, there was nothing left to fix. Because the moment I realized the truth, I didn't lose my marriage. she lost me. And that was something she never saw coming.